Alright, so we are right back into another Dragon Ball Super game video. This one, it's not really about cards per se, but what you actually put in those cards. I'm going to go over a good amount of things, and all of these sleeves, as I have a lot of decks to kind of showcase here, I suppose. I wanted to do this because obviously these, being the Katanas, have been a little bit of a topic here and there as far as being the best sleeve or not, and I've bought a lot of sleeves over the last year or so, and some of these are pretty old. I'll kind of give you comparisons of ones that are new and old as well, but I kind of wanted to, again, just give my opinion, pros and cons on each and every one of these sleeves. This doesn't include a number of other sleeves. There's like, people have so many different preferences, and I think at the end of the day it's kind of subjective, but the quality of some of these sleeves are a little bit objective, and I kind of want to go over that as well. But before then, definitely let me know. Let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite sleeves and why, and maybe even give me a suggestion of what to use. I've heard player's choice is pretty good. Some KMC, some hypermat. I don't have any hypermats here. I'm not gonna go over those. There's a lot of different channels out there if you ever wanted to see, but from a DBS player standpoint, these are going to be very specific to that. So to start it off, we actually have over here in the Zeno, we have the UltraPro DBS specific sleeves, the ones that come with the deck box, or you can buy a deck box with it. These are the standard UltraPro sleeves as well. These are Eclipses. These are character sleeves with double sleeve. These are character sleeves, same type from Bandai. Without the double sleeves, you can kind of tell the difference from every one of them with the double sleeves. And then these are, of course, Dragon Shields, and of course what I just said, Katanas. So let me go ahead and clear all this out, and I'll kind of go over each and every one of them. Okay, so these are the again, UltraPro sort of DVS exclusive sleeves. Like they're especially made for the DBS card game. So you can see them sort of like this really cool looking Shenron right here. I think the Rapid Onslaught ones were existing or one of the choices. I think there's a lot of different choices. I just kind of space out. I know there's one that has the actual game back, like the Dragon Ball ones, but I'm sure if you just look up DBS UltraPro sleeves, you can see all of the different styles. They're all pretty much the same. This is one of the latest ones. I got these from Celebrations for free. I think overall, when it comes to the pros and cons, like these, again, they look great. They're kind of smooth, but really in a nice way. They're a little slippery, but not too bad. The shuffle is not too bad as well. After the pros and cons for every single one of these, I'm going to go through the shuffle as well, so that way we can hear and see it. They actually do have a very clear front. If you kind of compare that to a lot of other sleeves, these are actually pretty A1. And I think the MSRP for these are actually like $7 or something, so it has a really good price. But the cons, I would say, they may require oversleeves. I haven't really tried it with them. They're a little sharp on the edges, and as well as a little too slippery, so when you're actually shuffling through them, they're kind of okay. That brings me over to the regular as UltraPro ones. These are probably one of the first sleeves that I ever bought. I think I got these out of suggestion, and they're pretty good. Like this is a full 50. The last one was like 45 or so, in case you're wondering why they look a little bit more thick or a little bit more. They have like this translucent sort of back to it too. You can kind of see the back. If this is any other card game, because these are all standard sleeves, of course. You can kind of tell what the back is and what game you're playing, so that's pretty cool. I think as far as the pros, would be the price. I mean, it's pretty affordable compared to a lot of other sleeves as far as the price range goes. I think the shuffle is actually pretty good. I'll show you that in a second. The back is nice and smooth. It's not matte. You can kind of see that there. And it's a nice little beginner sleeve, right? So if you just bought these and never bought anything else, I wouldn't knock you for it. Honestly, they're pretty good sleeves. It's just that as far as the cons, you kind of sort of get what you pay for. I think these don't really have the best longevity. If you look pretty closely to the tops here, they kind of sort of do this little thing after being shuffled for a while. Compared to my Dragon Shields, they do it, but not as much as this. This looks like spaghetti. Like it's crazy. And these don't really, you know, they don't really have the clearest fronts. They're okay. They're sort of glossy and sort of like this sort of, you know, if you look up these sleeves, some of them have very clear fronts and they're designed that way. But other ones like this aren't really designed for that. And that's kind of purposeful, but you sort of pay for what you get there. Okay, moving on to the Eclipses. These are pros. They're affordable, and they're good when you buy them. But other than that, they're really kind of terrible after a good week, maybe two. Their shuffle is kind of mediocre. You know, it's nothing that you really want to look forward to. It's sort of like, okay, I just want to shuffle and get this over with. They kind of get stuck after a while. If you sort of I don't know, I don't really have a good example here, but if you just have them in storage or just sitting there for a little bit, they do just get stuck. The fronts are, I don't know if I can kind of show you a good probably nail over here, but yeah, the fronts aren't the best. They sort of have this foggy sort of front after a while. They pick up a lot on fingerprints and stuff like that, so it's just not great. I think overall Eclipses are ones that you just put in for a little bit. Like I really do enjoy the back. These are the greens, but again, they get like stuck and sticky with like anything that you do, and they're just not great. They sort of like bend in the corners here, and just it's just like I just don't feel like they're really worth buying over anything else. Like if you can afford these, you can probably afford like the other Ultra Pros, or maybe spend a couple more bucks for Dragon Shields. Alright, so character sleeves. So this is the unsleeved, or not double sleeve, and this one's the double sleeve. These are missing a few cards, but you kind of get the idea of how sheer size the differences for double sleeves are, and like you can kind of tell sort of from here to here how much that really takes up. So that's a con in itself already. So I would definitely consider that. And not only that is that you have to spend a little bit more as far as just to get double sleeves as well. But going into the sleeves itself, these are really good. There's probably some of my favorite sleeves. These are the Goku ones from Celebrations, and as well as different events. I'm just gonna keep hitting the camera apparently. And just gonna it's just they're from different events, and as well as different sort of prizing. And I think these were just given out for team events and Celebrations when I was there. And I think the multicolored expansion ones and maybe other sealed events have these as prizing as well. So those are pretty much how you get them, other than just buying them. They're kind of pricey as far as what they really want to go for, or what they could go for as far as exclusivity. It just really depends, because we have these, and we do also have the winter sleeves that kind of operate the same way. They have the same sort of border, and as well as a smooth back. Doesn't really have too much as far as how different they are, basically. As far as the pros and cons, they actually really do have really good art. Like these, again, are my favorites. We have the other ones as far as the double sleeves. These are the winter sleeves for the current local tournament prizing. And these are, again, double sleeved as far as that goes. But for these, they're Bandai approved, you know. They're really, really good when double sleeved. I can't stress that enough. As far as their fronts, they're very, very clear. You know, nothing as far as not being able to see, or, you know, just want to show off your cards. Some of these kind of do collect dust up in the top, but it's not too much of a big deal. I think any sleeve does that. I think the biggest pros for these are really that they only come in 60. You know, you have a game that requires or can go up to a 15 card sideboard, but really you only have a 15 or 50 card deck and 10 card sideboard that they're forcing onto you. So it's kind of annoying in that retrospect. And these, like here, kind of are really terrible when trying to shuffle without double sleeves. I'll do both of them as far as like the difference, but you can kind of tell like these really just do not want to go until you want to go into like corners, which kind of hurts the sleeves. You don't really want to do that. The other part of it is that, you know, you kind of want to just take your time with these. You know, it's just not a great shuffling experience without the double sleeves. And again, the pricing is a little bit much if they are too exclusive. Ugh, that hurts. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. All right, here comes the Dragon Shields, the last two. So there's a few different things for both of these, for Dragon Shields and as well as Katanas. Before I even go through the pros and cons, well, I guess I'll just save it until after. But Dragon Shields in general, very, very solid as far as sleeves go. You know, they really rarely ever disappoint. Like if you ever just pick up a Dragon Shield box of sleeves, you're really not gonna have too much of a big issue, and as well as being disappointed in it. The fronts in itself are very clear. You know, these aren't, I don't think the rares really do it justice. Here's that almost banned card, Explorer Boma. Very, very cool. The back of it is very nice as far as a matte back. The shuffle is, you know, is really good. I mean, and again, you're not gonna have too much of a bad experience. This is a banned deck, by the way. This is my Super Shadow deck, and I just didn't de-sleeve it. And as far as the stock, it's really good. You know, you'll always find some Dragon Shields available, and the reputation is really good. But I think what the biggest thing is that these are actually pretty good as far as longevity. It's just the sort of tops here are a little bit you know, they have a little spaghetti thing going on. If you do not like the top of the spacing for the sleeves, is kind of annoying as well. So that's another thing to kind of consider. The corners are a little bit sharp, especially after you just buy them. So you have to kind of get used to that, and they sort of unsharpen over time. They're a little bit pricey over other sleeves as well, and these are a little bit inconsistent too. And when I say these, I mean UltraPro. So this is from this pack I got a long time ago, almost a year ago. So these are the same sleeve as far as this goes. You can kind of see here how these are not the same sort of, you know, size, and they don't, like, if you try to fit a card in it, I don't think you're gonna have a good time. It's just gonna be like this, where it just doesn't fit, right? Doesn't fit. This one, I think the bottom is down here, does fit, right? So it's really weird. Like you'll get I don't know why I just de-sleeved that one. I just could just put it there. You'll get that sort of thing. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but it's really just weird that does happen. I will say I've bought like two or three different Dragon Shields for my cards. They come in 100 for the sleeves itself, and it comes in a little deck box. This is the only one that is a little bit quality. The blue ones that I had, perfect. The yellow ones does have a little bit more as far as the top edge goes, where I think that just means, you know, it's just wear and tear, where it kind of gets a little bit wavy. So I don't know if that just applies for everything. Now what you came for are these, which is the Katanas. Even people I don't know, I can tell when something is sleeved in Katanas and when it's not. I remember last year in Vegas when they kind of came out, and they sort of people just started buying them, and I was at the event, the ARG event, and whenever I picked up their deck and I started shuffling or cutting that, I was like, these are really nice. These are Katanas, huh? They're like, yeah, they are. It's just sort of that thing that sort of happens whenever you have these sort of these sleeves sleeved up. I think the pros is that, you know, it does have probably the best shuffle compared to any other sleeve I've ever used. The fronts are extremely clear. Like you can't really beat that as far as any other sleeve. Like I really don't know any other sleeve other than Dragon Shield that are clear. I think the UltraPros are pretty clear as well in comparison. And of course, the back itself, as you can kind of see, are nice and matte. I do believe that's matte, right? And it's just nice. It's just a nice smooth feel all around. Now the biggest thing for these is probably the price. So these are probably going to be the highest priced sort of sleeves that you'll encounter for any other sleeves right now, as of this recording. And because of that is because they're so good as far as a shuffle, and they're just good as far as an all around. You get what you paid for sort of sleeve. And the stock is just out. You know, I think as of this recording, last week there was a stock in multiple stores locally. When I checked 2 days after that, they were all out of stock, or they only had like the translucent one. So it was just kind of annoying. They're also kind of slippery. Like when you first buy them, they are a little slippery, but you can kind of tell. Like if you just go like this, they should slip. I don't really have a good sort of example for that right now, but when you do buy them, they are extremely slippery. But after a while, they just sort of break in and they're fine. Now these are brand new, right? And then these are at least 4 or 5 months old, and these are obviously Katanas. Like they come in these color. This color is like an orange sort of red color. And what I want to do is kind of give you a sort of a back-to-back shuffling, and you can kind of tell why the longevity is a little bit questionable. As you can see there, it kind of falls in, right? But when you actually do it with the older ones, and again, this could be just me, could be just the way that I store things, maybe, I don't know. These are so much more rough to get into and shuffle, right? So if you ever saw me and wanted to try these out, I am more than happy to try and let you shuffle the same way that the other Katanas are. So again, these are exactly the same. They are Katanas. They might be the early ones as soon as they got released, and maybe they just fixed it. Maybe that was the reason for the out of stock. But those are so rough as far as to shuffle and just to kind of have a good experience with. So I'm a little disappointed as far as those go. These aren't like not playable. They just kind of are annoying to shuffle now. And maybe after a while, because I haven't used these as frequently as I did with everything else, it might get a little bit better. All right, that's really about it. I did not want to make it too long. I want to get straight to the point and kind of get all of these and before I de-sleeve everything and kind of decide what I want to play for the upcoming meta, and as well as the format with all the releases stuff, or the stuff that being released in June. But let me know what you think as far as all the thoughts that I had. Let me know what you think is the best sleeve that we have available, and if it's one that I haven't reviewed here, or if I got something wrong, I'm more than happy to be wrong. So subscribe if you're new, like, dislike, all that other stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.